just a few things, right? Just a high-level things because we do not have really enough time to go deep into each point. But first of all, I think a GBUS program in terms of the curriculum is designed specially to really help students to prepare themselves for a very dynamic and interconnected world, right? You know, the world is very globalized. You know, you need to do business not just in Hong Kong but around the world. You need to think through the problems that you face to come up with very good and creative solutions. So if you look at the GBUS curriculum, you know, in terms of the courses that we offer, we focus on all these different aspects. You know, the global exposure, you know, training your critical thinking, your critical analysis skills. And a key part of our GBUS program is also to include a lot of what we call exponential learning, right? So it's not just about learning things in class, but it's more of applying the knowledge from in class in a outside classroom situation. So I would say this is really the core aspect of the GBUS curriculum. Okay, and one of the important things, right? Why GBUS? Why not other business program? And this is something that I will encourage, you know, all of you to think about, to so-called study. As you look at different programs that's being offered in other universities, who are the key professors, the key instructors that will be teaching your class, that will be teaching the courses that you want. After all, right, you learn from them, right? You're going to spend time learning from them. So you should know who are the instructors that will be teaching you. And I'm very proud to say that, you know, for our GBUS courses, they are being taught by really top-notch, high-quality professors. You know, what you see on the screen is just a list of them. You know, they are all very experienced in the industry with many years of rich experience, you know, professional experience. But they're also very excellent instructors in the classroom. Many of them, in fact, all of them here, actually also teach in our top-notch, top-ranked, you know, MBA programs and our EMBA courses. So you are actually learning from all these top minds, you know, in the field. And I think this is one important thing that can enrich your academic experience. So as you consider different programs, I will encourage you to get information from other schools, from other universities, to find out, right, who are the professors that you will be able to learn from. And then you can also use this as a criteria, you know, when you're making a decision. Okay. And the key thing is, you know, you're going to spend 4 years in the university. It's not just about studying and homework and so on, but I'm sure you're also looking for fun people to hang out with, fun stuff to do. And the GBUS program, you know, it's not a very big program, but yet it's very close knitted, right? We have about 55 students per year. No, you get to, you know, across 4 years, right? There'll be about 200 over students on campus. Well, some of them will go on exchange and so on, but generally you're looking at about 200 students, you know, all very fun, loving people, you know a lot of, doing a lot of interesting stuff, and you get to hang out with them, you get to learn with them, and you get to work with them. So I think these are some of the key selling points of the Global Business program. After 4 years of having fun in the university, okay, I'm sure you want to get out of university with some good jobs, good career. Where do our students go? This could be one question that you may ask. Okay, so for GBUS, again, we train them in terms of their analytical thinking, about their skills, and they get to do a lot of second major and so on. So with all the different expertise and knowledge that they build up, you know, in USD, they can really pursue careers in a very diverse sectors and industries. So we have many graduates who join the finance. You can see some of the companies that are listed here. A number of them also join the consulting firms. We have students who join, you know, the consumer sector, and we also have students who join, let's say, the government agencies and work in the high-tech industry, doing their own startups and so on. So this is really, you know, what the GBUS program would prepare you for. All right. So I mentioned a few things which I would like earlier, which I would like to elaborate now. So I mentioned about the global exposure. So for GBUS, our students in the GBUS program actually get to go to up to 2 global international exchange with our partner universities. So this is something very unique because we really want you to expose yourself to different areas and different culture. Okay. a lot of our students also take part in international case competition based on their case analytical training and so on, and many of them did very well. And again, when you do all this case competition, you get to explore new places and make new friends. Okay. This year we have COVID, and there's some restriction in terms of us sending our students out. But what we did is we brought the word into our classroom. So just last week we have this head of global news in United Nations who came and shared with our students about the displacement issues that the world is facing right now. And it's a very enriching talk. So this is really something that that's to show you that we really take this global concept very seriously. Okay. So this is just to summarize what I've mentioned. Okay, why should you think about joining global business? The academic quality they can get from here, the community, and then the global exposure. All right. Now, I'll pass the time to Casper, who will share about GBUS from the student's perspective. And I think after his sharing, we will take some questions, all right, from you guys. Okay.
So thank you, Professor Takun, for handing the time to me. Let me introduce myself first. So my name is Casper. I'm a final year student in global business. So with my 4 years studying in global business, joining this big family, I had so much exposure in different aspects. And just now, Professor Takun has shared with us how global business program provides you with global exposure and how our well-organized or well-designed courses sharpen your business acumen, and how global business grow as a really close community. So based on all this aspect, I will share my experience as a global business student. So when I was in freshman year, I joined the Moscow study trip with the global business family. And this trip was really a wonderful trip, which it's a good mix with both learning and also having fun. We had guest lectures from a professor in the higher school of economics in Moscow to understand how the economy in Russia actually works and how is the financial market in Moscow actually was being developed. And we also had a site visit to some of the tourist spots. And of course, the freezing cold, which also make it very special, since for me, I haven't experienced anything weather like that before. While in my second year, I had the opportunity to actually represent HKUST to participate in an international case competition, which is the Belgrade Business International Case Competition. It was really an eye-opening experience to immerse myself in the Serbian culture and cracking cases in a European context instead of always talking about Hong Kong, always talking business in Asia or China. It was really a valuable experience for me. And over last year, I went on exchange to Stockholm School of Economics in Sweden. I had the opportunity to really experience the Swedish culture, the Swedish fika and the gym culture. And I also met a lot of talented people from all over the world, which we all became really close friends during the exchange. And the photo on the top right-hand corner is the time that I was having a Swedish banquet, which is super amazing. Yeah. And apart from developing my business acumen through global exposure, the well-designed course also help us to develop our business acumen. I was in a course called Global Business Case Studies, which I gained insights from different business case and to understand business models across various industries like FMCG, automobile, etc. And we also gone through comprehensive training from how to analyze a business situation and how to make an innovation or interesting recommendation, and also how to use a quantitative measure to actually prove that our recommendation actually works. And this whole course is really training our analytical thinking and problem solving skills, which I think will be really essential skills for you to be really successful in a job market. While So our global business students will engage in completely student-led initiative team to organize activities exclusive for our GBUS students, to help us gain exposure, to help us acquire technical skills, or help us to establish connection with internal or external parties. So the Moscow study trip that I have mentioned was also organized by one of the 6 teams. While I'm in the external relations team, which I'm involved in organizing activities for our students to build extensive and sustainable network. Say, for example, organizing mixer with students in quantitative finance, mixer with students in World Business Bachelor, or organizing activities for visiting students from University of Southern California. So having all this initiatives team actually help us sharpen our leadership skills and our teamwork skills. And of course, at the same time, building or bonding the whole global business community together, making it a really close and lovely family. So this is all my sharing. Hope my experience will let you understand more about us and about our program. I will now pass the time back to Professor Takun. So thank you.
Well, thanks, Casper. That's a very enriching sharing, I think, and this is from the student's perspective, right? What we're going to do, I see a lot of questions in the chat. We're going to address some of them in the next few slides. And then what we'll do is we'll stay behind after this talk to take any other questions that you have. All right. So what I'm going to show in the next couple of slides is really the frequently asked questions. And this is some of the things that maybe some of you are thinking about. And in fact, you may have already asked this. But before I go into this, just a quick apology, right? It seems I'm rushing through this because we just want to get to the gist of the today's session. So okay, so in terms of the admission requirement, as you can see on the screen, for the GBUS program, we do expect students to be performing quite well academically. So for JUPAS, for IB, I think this is what most of you are facing. What you see on the screen is the typical scores that we are expecting. All right. Are there any preferred subjects that we look at? Someone actually asked, must you study econs or do math and so on? No, we don't really have any preferred subject. We actually want to have a diverse student pool, right? So if you are strong in your arts, your science, your humanities and so on, we do welcome you to join. Okay, what we want really, the key thing is we want to have high quality students to come into this program. Okay. What if your exam result is not so good? Okay, so there are 2 ways to get into the GBUS major. One is to apply directly to the GBUS program itself. The other path is to join our business school first, and then you apply for the GBUS program at the end of your first or second year, right, based on your UST scores. So these are the 2 paths that you can actually consider. I will encourage you to watch the video that is in the virtual info session, because I do cover a bit more detail in terms of the 2 paths and what do we look at, right, when we are considering students from the different routes. Okay. And the follow-up question will be, what's the chance of joining GBUS in major selection? Okay, we do reserve, right? So that means if you are not able to join us directly in year 1, we do reserve enough seats and for students who are joining us from the major selection. So they are good. There's enough, right? Vacancies to go around. But what you need, of course, is to make sure that you are performing well when you are in UST in the first 1 or 2 years of the study. Okay. Is interview required? In short, yes, it is required for all admission route, whether you're doing JUPAS or JUPAS or IB or SAT and so on. What do we look for in terms of the quality? What do we look for in the candidates? Okay, your passion, right? Whether you're self-driven, and one important thing, I think Casper alluded to that as well, your ability to think critically, analytically, right? Your ability to communicate and your ability to work as a team, right? I think this is some of the key things that we do look for in our GBUS students. Okay, the interview format. So it could be, it depends. It varies from year to year a little bit, okay? But you can expect to maybe have a group interview where you may be cracking a problem as a group. And then there could be an individual interview with the program director, which is myself, for us to get to know each other a bit more, right? How do you prepare for the interview? Just be yourself. I think this is the key thing, right? We want the real you. Okay, just like there's no reason or no need for you to fake it to come in, because that's not going to work for you in the long run, right? Be yourself. But if there's something that you can do, I think, is to really train your communication skills to be able to articulate your thoughts clearly, because for both the group interview and the individual interview, the amount of time that we have is not that long. So I think the ability to communicate clearly, to articulate your thoughts clearly, that would definitely help. So that is a list of frequently asked questions that we get from students. What if you want to know more about what's going on in GBUS or in the HKUST, right? We do have a number of social media accounts that you should follow. There's a lot of fun stuff, and crazy stuff that you can see, in our social media account, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, even if you have LinkedIn. There's a LinkedIn page too, right, for you to consider. But do follow us, do join us, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be here to answer your questions. Okay, so before we go through the questions on the chat, let me give priority to any students who want to ask the questions verbally. If you have a question that you'd like to ask, you can just unmute yourself. Right.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Approximately how many students apply through non-JUPAS and how many get accepted?
The number of admission really depends on the supply of candidates. But for non-JUPAS, I think, Alice, do you have a figure for last year?
I think that last year, overall, the application number is slightly over 300. Because we are not only because some of the students they directly apply to GBUS, and some of them they are, but around 300 to 500, I would say. Yeah.
So this is for non-JUPAS?
This is for non-JUPAS, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And for non-JUPAS, we do encourage you to apply early because the interviews and the offers are on a rolling basis. Right, so do apply to us early, and you can process your application. As and when we receive it in batches. Okay. Anybody would like to ask the question verbally? Okay. If not, I'll just try to run through some of the questions.
Question.
Go ahead.
Does the sports scholarship scheme, does it lower the score for the conditional offer, or does it have no effect at all?
For the you mean the scholarship? So we HKUST, we have like variety of scholarship, and that based on your final grade or your final public exam result. Yeah.
Sorry, I meant the sports admission scheme, like.
You mean the SAAS?
Yeah, that.
So for that, we look at, this is like a new scheme. So we do evaluate each candidate individually on how your academic as well as your sports commitment, how it comes together. For GBUS, we in the past, if you like Chloe, she is one of our GBUS students who admitted through the SAAS scheme. Her academic actually is on par with our other students in terms of her IB score.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so there are some questions. Is it necessary to attend interviews? So interviews is necessary for all GBUS admission, whether you're JUPAS or whether you are non-JUPAS, right? So we do have interviews, and it's a requirement. All right. What's the average intake for this degree? Okay, each cohort is about 55 students, but we admit students for each cohort. We admit students across, in a way, multiple years, right? We have direct entry as well as through the school. So for the direct entry, I think we are looking at about around 20 or so students, plus minus 20 to 30, I would say. But again, it depends more on the quality of students that we have. I'm not so strict on the number per se, right? If we have many good high quality students, I would love to admit all that we can get. Okay. So there's a question about whether it's a must to study econs or business or accounting to apply for GBUS. Again, no, we don't have any specific course requirement for students coming in, but just make sure you do well in the courses that you take, right? We do have students with non-business background, and they come in and they do very well as well. Okay, any other questions that I've missed out? Okay.
Do we have any preference, extracurricular activities preferences for applying global business?
Any extra activities? What do you think, Alice?
Yeah. We actually don't have any preferences. So we do believe that every students have their own passion and what they want to do, and no matter what you're doing with your ECA, that should be showing your teamwork skills as well as your leadership skills, and that should be speaking to your personality as well.
Right. So we do have a very mixed batch of students who join us with different ECAs, different. Some of them spend more time in terms of social services. Some of them spend more time in terms of, let's say, certain groups, let's say the music groups and so on. Some of them take leadership, in their school. So we do welcome different types of students. Someone asked about the scores. Again, I just flash this up on the screen. Okay, these are the scores that we look at in terms of the DSE score. This is sort of the minimum expected scores. Okay. Okay. So there's a question about the Gaokao from mainland China, right? I think this is through the non-JUPAS path, right? So we do. I don't think we don't have a specific number. If there's a good students, we were happy to accept them through the Gaokao entrance exam.
Yes. In the past, we do have students admitted through the Gaokao to GBUS directly. And is there a particular format for the personal statement? No, we don't. We don't have a specific format. We don't have a specific topic. Take the personal statement as an opportunity for us to know more about you as an individual.
So for the interview format, is it going to be face-to-face, online? So it depends on the situation. In the past, before this year, we do it in person, right? But I think given the situation that we are in, we are all geared up. If we need to go and do online interviews, we are all set up for it. So let's see how the situation will be when the time for interview comes. We can do Zoom. If we have to. Okay, but regardless, I think it shouldn't affect the interview performance, right? Because everybody will be doing through the same format. Okay. Any questions?
For some of the first specific admission requirement questions, my colleague Jessica would like to invite you to go to the to our business and management booth, and we will have a team. We actually have a team of admission colleagues who can answer to your specific questions, like in a more detailed way. And in here, we will be taking more on the program related questions.
Okay, so the time now is at 6:37, sorry. So I think we have passed the time for this session. I know some of you may want to attend the other sessions. So feel free to leave if you want to skip to other sessions, but we'll stay on for a couple more minutes to take any questions that you all would have. All right, so we let the students leave first, and maybe what we can do is, if you have any questions, why don't you ask verbally so that we can we know this is a question that you would want us to address.
Would you consider language ability or mathematics ability more important for this program? I would say that both. We look at your we need students to have a certain proficiency in the language, which means English and Chinese. And we also expecting our students to have certain mathematics ability. So they're both equally important.
Okay, there's a question about the ECA, extracurricular activity. Is it better to have more? I think it's not the quantity, but the quality, right? Of what you do, what you achieve in your activity. If you just focus on, say, one activity, but you do it very well, I think it's much better than if you are scratching the surface for across many activities. And we do look into that. So sometimes some people ask about the interview, what type of questions. So I do ask questions about your involvement in some of these activities, right? To really want to make sure and see how much you are involved, okay, with those stuff.
So are exchange opportunities mandatory in the GBUS curriculum? How are they organized? So exchange or one semester abroad is a graduation requirement in GBUS. So students can apply exchange through the HKUST Business School Exchange Program. Some of them, they also will apply for visiting student program, for example, like in Harvard or in LSE, that also satisfy the graduation requirement.
Okay,
Apart from showing our abilities and personalities, what would GBUS like to see in our personal statement? Professor, would you like to explain?
Sorry. Okay, the personal statement. I think it's to reflect upon yourself, who you are. We really want to get to know you, right? Whether it's through the interviews or through the personal statement, looking at your CV, the idea is we want to have a good picture of who you are, a more holistic view. And I think what is important is to really show yourself through all these different activities. So there isn't really a specific thing that we look at, in terms of, say, academic discussion. Maybe not necessary, unless that can be used to showcase your maybe academic interest, your academic passion, right? So again, it's very the format isn't that strict, right? But the key thing is it should reflect your personality, your character, and your passion. Okay. Okay. There's a question about Capstone Project. Alice, you want to take that?
Sure.
I'm scanning through the other questions. Yeah.
Sure. So for GBUS curriculum, yes, we do have Capstone Project. It is a in the final year, so all our students will work in groups with a company to solve one of their real-time business challenge. So it's more like a consulting project to a company towards a specific business challenge that they are facing.
So there's a few other questions about personal statement, about the word limit and so on. I think we'll provide information about the personal statement requirement, right? We'll try to maybe put it online so that you guys can know more about the format, page limit, font size, spacing, and what have you, all right? About the interview, when will we conduct this? For the non-JUPAS, it will start as early as, I think, October, November. Towards the end of this year, we will start some form of first round, second round interviews. For the JUPAS, there will be 2 interviews. One will be in May, that's conducted by the business school. And I think the one by the GBUS program will be in July. Right, Alice? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I did my homework.
There's quite some people asking for what are some typical interview questions. So maybe
okay.
would you like to elaborate more on that?
All right, let me try to recall. So Casper, what do you remember the interview questions that you were asked during your time?
To be honest, I don't really remember, but I can actually recall some of the question. It's actually a bit different for first round interview and second round interview. For first round interview, it's more on the business school side, while the second round interview is more on our global business program side, and then it's actually being separated in 2 parts. But I don't know whether this format was going to change or not, because that's for my year. And so the first part is actually a group discussion regarding a small business case, and what we have chosen is a Disney company, or Disneyland, yeah, in Hong Kong, and how we are going to try to propose some recommendation to solve some of the business problems that they are facing. So that part is actually quite tough, because given that I don't study any business courses before, so but we are going to manage it with how you approach the question, how you think through logically, and present articulately. So that's a typical interview question. And then the second part is more like chatting with your interviewee. It's an individual question, individual interview. So it's more about knowing more about yourself, whether you understand about yourself, what's your personality, and the reason, of course, why you're choosing us. Yeah.
Okay, right. So I think by and large, the questions, the format would be like what Casper just mentioned. So I think there are two sides. One, again, is to see whether you fit into the program in terms of your, not so much as in your ability, analytical skills and what you know, right? But we just want to see whether you have the potential, whether you are able to fit into the program and take some of the tough courses that GBUS program do offer. But I think the other thing is really to know more about you as a person. And in that regard, the CV is one important way, and the extra activities that you do will be a useful indicator for us. But having said that, I think someone mentioned that while we do not have a lot of extracurricular activities, do we deduct points? No, we don't really deduct points just because you don't have enough. But it's really, maybe you don't participate a lot of activities in school, but maybe it's outside school. Maybe it's with your certain organization or say a church group and so on. No, we do look into all these things. So it's more of a holistic view of you as a person and what you have done. But if you really find that you are lacking, in terms of all these things, well, you still have time between now and I do not know, right, May or July, right, to do something impactful, save the world, solve COVID, and maybe that will help to make your CV much nicer. Okay. Is it a good cause for me if I want to be an entrepreneur in the future? Definitely. Well, GBUS doesn't train you to be an entrepreneur, right? But then the skill sets that you learn, the knowledge that you gain here definitely will equip you if you are thinking of doing a startup. So we do have some graduates who start their own startup while they were in school, and they continue with it immediately after they graduate. So definitely UST is the ideal place. GBUS is a good program, and you can also take entrepreneurship related courses in other departments. Okay. Let me see. Okay, any questions from the rest? If you want to unmute, you can feel free to do that while I scan through some of the questions. I'm not sure what else have I missed. Okay, principal nomination applications. Alice, can you?
We do consider the principal nomination scheme candidate.
So math and additional math, do we consider as two separate subjects? I think we do.
Question,
right?
that question we have to direct them to our admission college for a better answer, because I don't know for that one.
Okay. Okay, this is you're interested in GBUS and finance, but your score isn't good enough for GBUS, but sufficient for finance. Should you apply for finance? Yeah, you can join finance first, and then if you decide to switch to GBUS, you will have to drop your finance and then try to apply to GBUS, right, Alice?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that could be something that you do, but again, having said that, right, it doesn't mean that you will definitely get into GBUS after you join. But at least if you can do very well, for instance, in your coursework for the first 1 or 2 years, that would definitely give you a good shot, right, to join our program. Yeah. Are there any questions that I missed?
I think we are pretty good in covering most questions.
Okay. How about this? I'll take three more questions, right? Three final questions. Either you type or you unmute yourself and you raise it verbally, right? So
Hi.
yeah. Yes, hi.
What are the qualities you look for in a GBUS candidate?
The quality.
I think that we have a slide on that. Oh. In the admission session, yeah.
Right. Here, right? Your passion, right? Your interest in studying business, whether you are self-driven, whether you're self-motivated, whether your analytical skills, whether you can work well in a team, whether you can lead a team, for instance, and your communication ability. So if you think about the list that we show here, the first one aside, right? Your passion for studying business. For the other things, we try to gauge this through a few ways, right? So for instance, about your self-driven, self-motivation, we could look at this from your CV, the type of activities that you participate in and your involvement. Your analytical skills could come in during the interviews, right? During the example that Casper gave, right? How do you solve certain problems? You may not come with the right answer, but at least we want to see the way you think, right? The way you argue for your answers, for instance. Your people skill, again, this could be shown from your CV, right? Whether you are involved in some leadership position in certain groups, or do you work well? Do you stay through some activities for a long time? We can also try to see this during the group interview, okay? And the verbal and non-verbal communication, this really will come through during the interview itself. But again, you can help us to better know you in this various dimensions, in your personal statement. So in your personal statement, you can highlight, some of the, leadership position that you did, and why do you think, that gears you up, to be suitable for GBUS. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Margaret.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hi there.
So somebody asked for FAQ2. I think this is a slide. Okay.
I think we can take one more question before we
one last
end
question.
the session.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi there. So, in your opinion, what is the key differences between the DDP, the dual degree program, and global business? Because both of them sound so attractive to me.
Are you referring to the DDP in UST?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So, which DDP are you thinking of?
The dual degree program in technology and management.
Okay, so I think both are good programs, right? And because this is recorded, I do not want to get into trouble. But both are good programs, but I think they train you in slightly different areas. So when you talk about the DDP in technology and management, my guess is that you are interested in tech, in IT, and so on. So you can do tech and management, the DDP. That could be a very useful way to prepare you for that. But if you're taking a GBUS path, what you can also consider doing is to do a GBUS as your first major, and then you can do some tech-related, you can select some tech-related major, right? So for instance, you have an information system. You can choose that as a second major, which Casper is nodding because he is precisely doing the GBUS plus information system. Or you can even do GBUS plus computer science, right? To gear you up. So the GBUS program itself is actually quite flexible in that dimension. What I would say is that the key thing about GBUS is really to train your analytical skills, critical thinking skills, and to really give you that type of exposure on a global basis. To help you to be a team player, to take leadership, right? So this is something that is unique for GBUS, which you can apply to other types of functions, whether it's IS, technology, or say marketing or finance and so on. Maybe we can give Casper a bit of time to convince, sorry, I didn't get the name of the last student. Who was the student who asked this question? Has she dropped off already, or is she still here?
No, she's still here. So
okay, yeah. So maybe Casper, you can convince Ruing, I think, right? Why going GBUS plus say IS would be a good consideration vis-a-vis DDP.
So I think I'll just share what is my consideration taking such kind of combination instead of taking directly into DDP or any other courses. So what is my thinking is that I think I would first try to really develop my business acumen first, and that is something first come into my mind. And while we all believe, or we all know that technology is going to help business a lot, and a mix of both will give you edge in different areas. And that is why I start to consider, instead of second majoring in finance or economics or other second major, I consider studying information system, which is more related to tech side. So if I really want to pursue a future into a more tech related thing, I'll be able to do it with my information systems backgrounds or knowledge with that. And for your information, because information system is also a very broad second or a very broad major, and what I'm doing is more focusing on the business analytical side or data that side. Yeah, thank you.
Right. And just to add on a bit, I think the last part, I think our current year 4, I know of 2 GBUS students who will be joining Microsoft. At least 2 students I know, they'll be joining Microsoft. They have the return offer from Microsoft. They are, I think both are GBUS and IS, right? So again, you do not, the DDP is a good program as well, but with GBUS, it does, as I mentioned, right? It does allow you to pursue different types of career, including career in technology. So this, I'll just leave you with this. All right. So thank you all very much. Yeah. Alice,
just to add on, the DDP program is actually more focused on the focus is more on the engineer school side, while you're doing a general business management double degree. But for GBUS and a second major, or for all the SMM programs, we are more business focused. So I think one thing that you can ask yourself is, are you more interested in the engineering side, or you're more interested in the business side? Hope that will helps you to first answer your question.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Right, thank you. So once again, thank you all for spending your evening with us. It's wonderful to talk to you all and to share a lot about the GBUS program. And special thanks to Casper for spending this time to share his experience in the GBUS with all of us as well. So again, if you have any questions for us, feel free to contact us. Join our WhatsApp, sorry, not WhatsApp, but Facebook social media account, right? Yeah, Instagram, and you can get more information from there. All right. So with that, a good night to you. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and all the best in your examination. Okay. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye. Have a good day.
You too.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.